Yeah, you better watch this channel. You better watch all the videos. You better watch every single one right here at Good Mic Work Commentary. Do it. Do it now.
What's going on, everyone? Happy Thursday afternoon. What a weird-ass time to be coming up here to do a pay-per-view review, 3 p.m. local time for me here in California, to talk about WWE Crown Jewel 2021, wrapped up just a couple of hours ago. And I'm really happy for all of our friends on the other side of the globe or in other countries across the pond that actually get to watch a pay-per-view and watch pay-per-view reviews at a not-so-ludicrous time for once. I'm very, very happy for you guys. So for once, it had to be inconvenient for a lot of us, but not really. East Coasters just had to watch this thing at noon. A lot of people, though, work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday jobs and probably had to miss this. With me, I have a flexible schedule, so I can just take the day off, no big deal. But the pay-per-view for me on the West Coast here in California started at 9 o'clock in the morning, and Greg doesn't do 9 o'clock in the morning because Greg stays up till like 4 or 5 a.m. every night. So I had to drag myself up. I missed the Hell in the Cell match, but got my ass up and watching the show from there on, Mansoor versus Ali, and I saw everything else. And then I backtracked and watched the Hell in the Cell match just about an hour ago, and wow, easily the best match on the show. I actually thought the show was really good. On paper, it was looking good, but, you know, I wasn't sure, you know, with the Saudi stuff. Early days of these Saudi shows, they were phoning them in. Then shit started going down. I think when Saudi caught up, or, you know, or maybe the officials there or whatever, they kind of, you know, were smartened up to what was going on. Oh, they're just going to give us a glorified house show with WrestleMania Pyro, and they started demanding more shit go down. We've seen some title changes since then, so we thought we could see some potentially major things here. We didn't see any title changes. I went perfect, absolutely perfect in my predictions, got every single match correct, and even despite the fact that there was no title changes and a couple of matches that I was just not looking forward to, particularly Bill Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley, I still think Crown Jewel was a good pay-per-view. It was. This is my first WWE pay-per-view review since July. I was at SummerSlam and I missed Extreme Rules in September, so it's been a while since we've done a pay-per-view review. So anyway, we're going to talk about the whole show here, all of the matches. I thought everybody brought it. Like I said, the Hell in the Cell match was just fucking crazy. That was such good stuff, and just bravo to Edge and Rollins on just a fantastic program there that's probably now over, even though they're both headed over to Raw. We crowned the Queen and King tonight. The title matches I thought were all good. The women's match was phenomenal. The triple threat match for the women's title, Becky, Sasha, and Bianca, was way better than I thought. They gave the women's final of the Queen's Tournament match about 6 minutes, even though the tournament was such a fucking complete joke. It didn't matter what they did in the finals. It wasn't going to save it. Bill Goldberg, I don't like him. I want nothing to do with him, not only wrestling, but definitely not wrestling in Saudi Arabia, because it's always a fucking disaster. But this match reminded me a lot of the match that he had with Brock Lesnar back at WrestleMania, I think 34 in 2017, that exceeded the expectations we had for him. And now it's 4 years later, 4.5 years later, Goldberg's even older than he was, and I was just nervous as hell that this thing was going to be a complete and total, utter disaster. But it wasn't half bad. Goldberg did not look as bad as he has in the past in Saudi Arabia, like his match with Undertaker and whatnot. So this one was a pleasant surprise. However, I knew all along what the outcome was going to be, and I didn't want to even watch the fucking match. So at least Goldberg didn't embarrass himself out there, but still it was a match that, do we even fucking need that? So even though I didn't like that match, didn't want to see it, and wasn't looking forward to the outcome, you know, despite a couple of low points and, you know, a couple maybe disappointing finishes maybe, I thought the show was good. So for me, my personal grade, I'm going to give it a B- and a 7.8 or something like that. What would you guys say in the chat? How would you grade this show? I thought it was all very good. Crowd seemed to be into it. They react a lot more like like a more simpler audience who follows the heels and baby faces, but still, I thought the energy in the crowd was good. I really like to see, the first couple of rows just loaded with a shit ton of kids. Probably the memory of a lifetime for them. They had the time of their lives here, hopefully, so they got to see all of that up close. I guess I was happy for all of them, but overall, I would rather we just not do these stupid Saudi shows anyway, because I hate them. But at least, this one was worth watching, and if you didn't get a chance to see it, you were at work all day, go back and take a look. It was pretty good, especially that Hell in the Cell match. Brock and Roman was a ton of fun, and, like I said, even Lashley and Goldberg didn't disappoint. And, of course, we did crown King Xavier, which a lot of people were rooting for him. I would have been fine with a Finn Balor win, because as you know, I'm a fan of the non-storybook endings. I believe that wrestling should be a little bit realistic, and sometimes you always shouldn't make the final shot or hit the home run in the bottom of the ninth. Sometimes you need to fucking strike out, like Hikaru Shida learned when she faced Serena Deeb on Dynamite a couple weeks ago. I would have been fine with Balor, who I think is the far superior wrestler here, get the win. But he didn't. Xavier beat him. Nice moment. Got the crown. He's happy. He'll have a good time with that crown. It's going to be much more pleasant to watch Xavier Woods with his crown than it's going to be to watch Zelina Vega with hers. Because I'll tell you what I'm not looking forward to on WWE Raw from now on is Queen Zelina segments. As if Raw doesn't suck bad enough. We got that coming. And, of course, one outcome that I did like, even though it was extremely predictable, is I said in my predictions that I wanted Big E to get a straight-up, clean win over Drew in the middle with the big ending, 1, 2, 3, and that's exactly what we got. So the list of things that I have to complain about this show is very low. It was a good show overall, and bravo and props to everybody and the crew for kicking ass out there. Now, they got to haul their asses home. SmackDown is tomorrow, and we remember what happened last time. There was that travel shit and that famous Brody Lee picture, and all of that. So hopefully they get back and everything's fine and it's not a fucking disaster and they can run SmackDown tomorrow. I would imagine that talent has got to be tired as hell. They're not even know what day it is tomorrow. Here on the U.S. time, a lot of these guys, if they lived on the West Coast, were wrestling at 9 a.m. in the fucking morning, and then they got to go back to work, an 8 p.m. East Coast timed SmackDown tomorrow. I'd be exhausted if I'm on that card, and I'd be praying that they would leave me off. I'm sure a lot of people who are not booked to work Crown Jewel will be working tomorrow, but it's got to be brutal. The travel's just got to be brutal. My God. Anyway, hi to everybody that is here. Do me a favor, vote on that poll up there if you don't mind. Smash the thumbs up button. I've got some better settings now. I played around with the settings so we don't have to worry about any crazy racist Trump 2024 trolls. Got them under control. Apologize for that the other day. Actually, I shouldn't say trolls. I should say troll. It was just one loser, man. Losers are like cockroaches, man. They can fucking find you. They just come out of the woodwork after you. So hopefully we have put a lid on that, and he's no longer mad at me for being a liberal, because I am a liberal, and I'm also very liberal with the sex lube that I rub all over his mom. So I can understand why he doesn't like me. So hopefully we'll have a handle on that, and we can get into this pay-per-view and talk about it like regular-ass human beings. It would be nice, right? In terms of what else we're going to do this week on the channel, for those scoring at home, I mentioned in the last couple of streams that this week's Winged Eagle podcast will be Sunday. No reason to do it Saturday. We've got SmackDown and Rampage tomorrow, but, Dynamite is Saturday night. So we're going to do the Winged Eagle, more of a primetime version. Again, just like we did last week, we're going to go head-to-head with the Sunday night game, whatever it is. Hopefully it's not a big one. It's probably some baseball we're going to have to deal with too, but that's the way it goes. Blame AEW for that. So we'll be up here at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific for the Winged Eagle on Sunday. So just keep that in mind. And then, of course, this Monday, we'll be back after Raw for the review. There you go. I'm going to say hi to those who are here, and then we'll start getting into the show. We're going to start things off with a kickoff, and they added a last-minute match, Usos taking on the Hurt Business. Jimmy Anderson, what's up, man? Good to see it, and I'm so glad and happy for you that you get to watch a pay-per-view at a normal time. I just got done saying that a minute ago. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, Cole, that is a table, not a ladder. What, did Cole miscall something? I might have missed it if he said something wrong. Didn't catch that, whatever that was about. Good to see Alex Dredge in here. Joey's Adventures, good show, but was let down by the main event. I actually thought the main event was fun. It's kind of fun seeing Brock in like baby face mode with the ponytail and the whole thing. And it was a different dynamic to this Brock and Roman match. Every encounter these two guys have had previously has always been like babyface Roman just getting his fucking ass kicked the whole match, just trying to survive. This one had a little bit of a different feel because Roman was working heel and he was a little bit more assertive and he wasn't getting dominated so much by Brock right at first. It didn't come until more near the end when he didn't really see too much of a way out. And that's when the Usos came in, and of course Paul Heyman shoving the belt in that went right in between them, and his reaction, his demeanor, his mannerisms all throughout the match I thought told a really good story. Heyman didn't do much. He kind of sat there. He looked scared shitless and not sure what to do. At the conclusion of the match, I thought everything came together really well. I wasn't disappointed with the main event at all. Maybe you're talking about the outcome, but Brock I don't think is going to really be eating another clean pin. He just did that last time he was in the ring against Drew McIntyre. I mentioned this in the predictions yesterday that if Roman is to walk out of Crown Jewel as champion, he doesn't necessarily have to beat and put down Brock clean. They left a whole bunch of story yet to be told here with the Usos' involvement and Paul Heyman looking a little bit unsure of himself or something. I think there's more to this story to be told later after Brock perhaps takes a break, comes back around Royal Rumble time. We're probably going to get Roman Reigns and Big E at Survivor Series, and I think it's pretty safe to say which way that's going to go. So maybe this is it for Brock for a short time until they pick things back up. I don't know. Brock might have just come back at SummerSlam to get this Saudi Arabia payday and then go back on the shelf for a bit before coming back into the fold. I don't know. But he's a free agent now. He could head to Raw. He could be... Heyman could still advocate for him. Heyman could do both guys. Heyman could be on Raw and SmackDown backing up both. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do, but I think that they left the door open to do more. So I didn't really hate it that much. What's up, Alex? Anyone else like the E McIntyre match? I did. I thought it was good. Gave me the outcome I wanted. Reese Jones, what's up? Good to see you as well. Al Ramos is here. Jet the Hawk, Cobro, Zane G, Dre L, Al Ramos, Michael Kumo, Dark Angels in the house, and Deshaun Robinson right on. At least got a monkey wrench in here. Big J, Conor McGregor fans, Denny Down, and Notorious Media, Mango Salsa, Metalhead Jake, Legendary Bigfoot, David Brown, what's up? Sonic Plays, Stephen Harris, Charlie, Tim, Ronnie, what's up, man? I had work and I'm just getting off, missed the show. Well, you can listen to us talk about it. I am glad that you're off. What time is it where you are? 6:15. All right. Oh, so you worked a daytime shift, huh? Those are brutal. I'm glad you got the rest of the night off. Kick back and relax, my man. Hang out with us. Should be fun. Oh, good. Angie's here too. Wonderful. What a crowd. Mohammed is in the house. We also have Jimmy, who I saw earlier, Jonathan, Ben. Did I get you, Ben? Jerome, Spaz Phoenix with the $5 drop. Thanks, dude. Go subscribe to Spaz Phoenix's YouTube channel right now. Becky and Charlotte set to swap their belts and lead their respective brands. Can't think of two better choices. It's going to be what they're going to have to do. And as we talked about in the predictions that I was mentioning with these two women, I can't believe that I was actually rooting for them to do the belt swap. I think the belt swap is fucking ridiculous, and I hate it. However, I would rather have them do that than them do some weird title switch tonight in order to match up the titles on the right brands. You know what I mean? Just do the title switch. It's fine, because I really wanted Becky and Bianca to carry their shit over into Raw, because Bianca Belair is going to beat Becky Lynch for that title. It is absolutely going to happen. So I didn't see Bianca picking up the belt here or Sasha taking the belt or something, because then, it's just keep doing what you're doing. It made more sense for Becky to keep the belt. I just hate that they have to do the belt name swapping thing. It's going to suck. That's what they're going to do. I saw somebody mention they were kind of hoping for a unification match of the two titles. I wouldn't be against a unification match, but I don't think they're going to do that. They have two brands. They want two champions. I don't see that happening. I think they're just going to, just like the Street Profits and the New Day did, or was it the Street Profits and the Usos? Whatever two teams did that. It was ridiculous. And yep, you're right. They're probably going to do it again. Can't wait. OG Goth in the house. Lil Justin is here. Ganondorf was the good guy. Thank you for the $5, man. I'm a handsome man, huh? Well, appreciate that. I'm sure you are too. That's a very handsome orange G you got going on. It's hot. So that makes two of us. My friend, Joey's Adventure, thanks for the $2. WWE's Twitter announced Brock on SmackDown tomorrow. No shit. Well, he might as well. He's going to be on the same fucking plane with him. So you might as well go to SmackDown. You're already on the road. You're already way far away from home. Make one more stop on your way back up to BFE, where the hell you live, Brock. Brock on SmackDown tomorrow. Interesting. See what they did? They left all that shit open. Heyman, the final closing shot, and he's just kind of like this. It's like Roman is retaining the title, but he seems very concerned. So I like it. I like it a lot. We'll see what happens tomorrow. And remember, we'll be up here Sunday to talk about it. All right, that does it all. Or that does it for all the pleasantries and hellos and super chats and that type of stuff. Let's get into the results. Crown Jewel kicked off. I actually didn't even see this match. This was the one I skipped. Like I said, 9 a.m. is a bit early for me to be pulling my ass out of bed to watch a pay-per-view, so I was a little bit late joining the party here. Did not see the kickoff match at all, but I do believe the Usos defeated the Hurt Business. Is that correct? So that match happened. I'm sure it was good. Then it was main card time, and man, they opened up with a bang. Hell in the Cell kicked this pay-per-view off. Edge versus Seth Rollins. They lowered that big red fucking box, and it was on. This was so good. You could tell in the entrances that this was going to be good. There was just something about it, you know. Seth coming down there, he's dressed like a complete buffoon and he's doing his dances, you know, and Edge makes his entrance with that just focused, dead look on his face like he is, you know, he is out for blood. You know, I would not recommend entering Edge's home uninvited. He looks like he's going to kill a motherfucker. And shout out to Ref Jessica. I don't even know in these previous Saudi shows if they've had female referees yet. I know it took forever for them to get a women's match, you know, finally done with Natalya and whoever the fuck it was. And now just to see Ref Jessica in there, of course she had to wear the sleeves and shit, but she was in there reffing the match. I kind of thought that was cool. They may have already done, she might have already reffed a match in Saudi Arabia. I don't know. The announcers might have even referred to this. I didn't notice it, but I just kind of thought it was cool that she was the referee for this thing. And it started out pretty, this is exactly what I would envision these two guys to have in some sort of a Hell in the Cell blow off to a great program. Back in July or August when all this stuff kicked off, I said right here on the channel, I said, this is going to be a 3-match program. I was like, it could be 4, but I think 3 would be perfect, with Edge probably winning the blow-off. And I think this is going to be about as good as a program as you can ask for from any 2 pros that they have on their roster. And they totally delivered here. I thought the SummerSlam match, which I was lucky enough to be in attendance to watch, was great. Rematch on SmackDown with the follow-up with Seth winning was awesome, followed by the home invasion and all the bad blood and the heat and the history between these two guys. Now, finally, they actually have a Hell in the Cell match when it's necessary. See how nice that is? Instead of having the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view sitting right smack dab in the middle of their schedule and they have to scramble to find matches worthy enough to toss in a box, isn't it better when you have 2 opponents that have a deep-rooted issue that there's really no other way to settle this than one of these guys killing the other and put him inside a cage? You would have had to do this with them or maybe with Lashley and Goldberg or something. But this was a match that needed the Cell. The Cell was necessary, warranted, and you just put the Cell on a random pay-per-view like you should always do. Hell in the Cell matches should be, I think, just like cage matches, just not used as frequently, where you can have them on any show no matter what. And WWE still kind of does that, as we've seen here, as we saw at WrestleMania a couple years ago with Taker and Shane and stuff, but they still have that ridiculous pay-per-view that's so pointless. Ditch it. You already ditched TLC this December. Fuck Hell in the Cell. We don't need it. We don't want it. It's stupid. Just have Hell in the Cell matches whenever you have a feud that's just super gnarly. It would be so much better served. These matches would mean so much more. Fans would look forward to them so much more instead of literally just tossing wrestlers in there to shorten their careers, do damage and wear and tear on their bodies for no reason, you know, and no investment. The fans don't give a shit. They know they're going to see a good match, but there's no story. There's no real issue to really make a Cell match necessary these days, I would say, in 80% of Cell matches that they have now. So it was a very nice change of pace to see the Cell utilized in its proper way. This is what it was meant for. I think the Cell is still a little bit fucking obnoxious, the way it's all big and red and 3 times the size of what it used to be for some reason. It was much more, you know, kind of gritty, and it felt more like a Cell, you know, the first couple of renditions of it. I wish it would go back to that, but can't have everything that thing still has to look like a toy and be marketed and sold as a toy. So that's why it's big and red and stupid. But at least we got the Cell match when it was called for. And that's what I liked. And the match was great right off the bat. I mean, it started out slow like you would think it would, because they really started ramping shit up about midway through the match. And Edge, very methodical. You can tell he's out for blood, but he's also trying to hold back his rage at the same time. When they started getting going with the stairs and the chairs and the tables was when it got fun. Now, they had a table set up on the outside of the ring, up against, so basically just between the ring and the cage. And they did a table bump here that I've never really seen before. Edge basically shoves Seth kind of like off the top rope, and he goes into the side of the cage, bounces off the cage, and then lands through the table. So it was kind of like a bank shot. But I don't think it counts because Edge didn't call it. But it was a really good-looking spot, and he did all this like landing face first through the table. A lot of table bumps, you kind of fall the same way to protect yourself and stuff. Seth got real creative here, and the way he bumped through and crashed through the table looked great. Loved it. They brought out a tool bag, which had all sorts of goodies in it. It had a chain. I think I saw a can of WD-40 in the ring. It had wrenches and all sorts of shit. And so that is now in play. Seth nearly taps out near the end with the chain. Edge has got the chain wrapped around Seth's mouth, and he's pulling back, got him in the deal. And then he goes and Seth is trying to grab some of the tools that are laying around ringside from the tool bag, and he grabs the wrench, and Edge just grabs it right out of his hand, throws the chain away, and instead uses the wrench and pulls back in Seth's mouth and just pulls him back. And right as Seth is about to tap out, Edge lets go, gets up, gets a chair, slides it under Seth's head, backs up, and boom, stomps Seth's face right into the chair, beats him, pins him 1, 2, 3, beats him with his own move, and it was just a fucking war. What a program. Can't say enough good things. You could tell that Edge was doing some serious, gracious thanking to Seth as the match was over. He kind of put his arm over Seth a little bit, and they were you can tell that Edge was going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. That was about as good as a program as I could have ever asked out of these two. You knew it was going to be good. They're two pros. Edge is a fucking veteran, and Seth really, really knows what he's doing, and the two just made magic. Loved every single match they had. Loved nearly every segment they had. A lot of the promos were kind of pointless, because it was just taking, 5 or 6 minutes just to say, I'm going to beat you next time we face each other, but just the delivery and the emotion and all that was very good. Loved most of this feud. It was great, and props to both guys. So we'll see if now this victory catapults Edge into WWE title contention, I should say, not Universal, because he's heading over to Raw, so Seth. So if Edge is not going to stick around, maybe he takes off again. He's kind of been in and out a little bit in between stints, and this was a pretty brutal match. I don't know if he's going to necessarily be working right away on Raw again on Monday. He might be gone for a bit and then come back for Survivor Series, maybe not even come back till the beginning of the year. I don't know. But with this victory and with him saying on TV that he wants to be in line for another title shot, he might be getting one. So I think we're going to get Big E against Roman on Survivor Series. But after that, what do you do on New Year's Day? What do you do on all of the Raws since there is no December pay-per-view? What do you do on all of the Raws between Survivor Series and that New Year's Day pay-per-view? Give Big E a title defense. He could work with Edge or something. So we'll see if that turns out to be the case and what they do with Rollins. Rollins is on Raw as well. I'm hoping that they don't do one more match here or something. To me, they left it all in the ring here. That was perfect what we saw at Crown Jewel. I don't want to see them pick anything back up on Monday. I hope that's it. It's done. No more. And if it is, curious what Rollins will be doing on the Raw brand, who he's going to start feuding with. It seems like him and Edge are both open to have new programs now. Or if maybe Seth steps in and tries to get a title shot in front of Edge, that would be some shit. Wouldn't surprise me at all. He is a heel, don't forget. So if Seth is somehow able to leapfrog Edge and get a title shot against Big E before Edge, that could happen. They could put these two guys in a triple threat number one contenders match, where technically they're wrestling again, but not really, and then Seth can win and get the title shot or something. I could definitely see them doing something like that. But I almost think like Rollins might need a fresh start. If he goes in and has some sort of a program with Big E, I would assume Rollins would lose. And he just got done losing a program to Edge. So I don't know. We'll find out Monday what these guys do. I'm sure they will both continue on with something on Monday, or at least Rollins will. But overall, great match, great start to the show, and it was really tough to follow this. And they put their hometown boy, Mansoor, against Mustafa Ali on next. So these two poor dudes who are great wrestlers have to follow that. That's going to be tough. Mansoor gets the great hometown reaction, of course. Ali tweeted out earlier out in the day that he was going to be donating his entire purse to charity. So that's very nice of Ali. Such a great guy. But despite all of that kindness and generosity, not a good day for Ali. First of all, he lost to Mansoor. Mansoor beat him completely clean, which you knew he would. That match was about as predictable as you could be. The kid is in his home country there. And after the match, Ali continues the attack on Mansoor, and then he gets knocked out by this mystery man who comes out. Music plays. He comes out in total disguise, and I forget his name, but he reveals himself to be the fellow who won the silver medal in Taekwondo at this year's Olympics for Saudi Arabia. Everybody knew who he was, got a big pop, and he wound up knocking out Ali. So kind of a Mike Tyson, Shawn Michaels WrestleMania 14 type of deal there. Dude sure took his time getting to the ring. Could have watched 4 Undertaker entrances in the time it took for him to walk his ass out there. But I guess it was a good moment for that particular crowd, and that's what it's all about. So glad they got that. And like I said, just a tough night for Ali. And he donated his money on top of it, got his ass kicked, and lost money. My God, sucks. After that, we get the Raw tag team titles on the line. RK Bro defending against AJ and Omos. I was really hoping we would not see a title change here. I would love to see AJ Styles get back to singles, but right now they've still got him with Omos. The entrances here were fucking incredible. RK Bro comes out, and then Riddle kind of like leaves Orton. He's like, I'll be right back or whatever. And he leaves, and he's gone for a while, and he winds up coming back out on a camel. They had like camels near the stage there in the set and everything. And Riddle comes out riding a camel. I immediately thought of the tour that the WWF took in like 97, where there's pictures of like The Rock and Owen Hart on camels or whatever. And so Riddle's coming out in a camel, and I just love that he was on a camel and not Randy Orton. I can imagine Vince pitching this backstage. Well, Randy and Riddle, I think we're going to have you ride in on camels. And Riddle's like, bro, for real, that's going to be fucking sweet. How many humps does my camel have? And then Randy's like, Vince, it's me, Randy. I'm not riding out on no camel. And Vince is like, oh, yeah, you're probably right. So just Riddle. It was funny. He came out. They had a good time. Got in the ring. Match started. They kept Omos limited, like always. I like Omos. He can still, like, do big man stuff. He can still throw people. He's strong as fuck. I don't know why everybody thinks, if you're 7'2", you got to wrestle like fucking Eddie Guerrero. He, I think, does fine for somebody the size that he is. He needs to do a little bit more and get better. I think that's the whole point here, why he's in a tag team, why he's limited, why he's with someone like AJ. He's going to get better as the experience comes, but I haven't seen a ton of improvement on Omos. But what I have noticed is the crowd does seem to like him and react to him as well. So he got in the ring and did his slams a little bit, but in the end, it was AJ doing most of the work. He goes for a big, phenomenal forearm on Randy Orton, and of course, he eats an RKO. So they gave that Saudi Arabia crowd that phenomenal forearm RKO counter spot that we've seen a couple of times. It's fucking fabulous. And then and he hit it perfectly. And then right after that, Riddle grabs AJ in the corner, sets him up for the floating bro, nails it for the win, and RK Bro retains the Raw Tag Team titles. I am in no hurry to see these guys drop the belts. Keep them on them until next crown jewel. I don't give a shit. They are so fun. After that, we got the finals of the Queen's Crown tournament. Finals, of course, are Zelina Vega versus Doudrop. Now, I would like to give a shit about this match, but I just don't. WWE completely disgraced themselves with the Queen's Crown tournament. What a fucking joke. What a joke. Every match in the tournament was, under 3 minutes? Most of them were under 2 minutes, or just a little bit over 2 minutes, and I think only one went over 3 minutes. So by the time they got to the finals here, from the very first match, what was it, like Zelina and Toni Storm? It was like a minute and a half. It made you remember the days of the Divas division when it was like, Kelly versus, I don't know, somebody who sucks, and the match is just terrible. It was like kind of something like that. I'm like, man, you could have had fun with this. You could have given these women something to fight for. You could have, with all of this TV time they have, the fact that they couldn't give somebody on Raw an 8-minute match, a 10-minute match, like it just blows my mind. You should have these women fighting hard. You should remember their path to victory. When you think back to Bret Hart's victory in the 1993 tournament, you remember everything about that. Razor Ramon, and then Kurt Hennig, and then finally with Bam Bam Bigelow. And here, I don't even, you barely remember what the hell even happened. You blink and you miss these matches. They made such a big deal about this Queen's Crown. They talked about it and teased it for a couple of years. And with everything that they've done with the women prior to this, they made a big deal of the women's Money in the Bank and the women's Royal Rumble. They had the Evolution Women's Pay-Per-View. They treat every first ever for women very, very importantly. So why didn't you this time? Why was this such a complete and total utter fucking joke? I'm not a fan of King of the Ring tournaments and stuff anyway, even though my favorite wrestler ever put on a crown and a cape and carried a scepter around. I don't know why anybody would want to win that. It's like, yeah, I want to be a king. I wouldn't want to be called. It's stupid. It's just stupid. So I don't even know what the motivation here is. It'd be one thing if you did like you did back in the day and you guaranteed that the winner of the King of the Ring would get a title shot at SummerSlam. Remember they did that a couple of years, or something like that, much like you would do with a Royal Rumble. But, this entire tournament was a joke. It was filled with 1.5-minute matches that meant nothing. They just threw a bunch of names out there, and I think they put Zelina Vega in it as maybe... maybe they're trying to do a little bit more for her in terms of when she came back and some of the heat she had prior to when she left. And, maybe they're trying to just repair that relationship. They also really fucked her over hard on that 9/11 Madison Square Garden show where she was supposed to wrestle and had special gear made and everything. And then they scrapped the match last minute. I defended WWE in that in terms of saying, yeah, it was a shitty situation. It sucks. I feel terrible for Zelina, but I understand that live TV shit happens sometimes. Just shit happens and it sucks and it's unfortunate, but I didn't really tear WWE apart for that. It happens, so I feel like maybe this was their way of apologizing to her to make her the first ever Queen of the Ring or the Queen's Crown winner. But at the end of the day, what is this going to mean for Zelina? By the way, she beat Doudrop in nearly 6 minutes with the code red. So she beat her clean, and the match went about twice as long as any other match, 3 times as long, really, as any other match in the tournament. But still, it wasn't even very good. Even the 6 minutes they got wasn't great, and Zelina won, which is great. But as somebody asked me on Twitter, they said, well, do you think this will result in a push for Zelina Vega? Fuck no. It's not going to mean anything for her. She'll probably lose on Monday on Raw. And what I'm really not looking forward to is Queen Zelina segments. Did you notice when she was celebrating on the throne and she was doing this and she's wearing the crown and, oh my God, the crown and blah, blah, blah. It's like when Natalya won the tag team title and she acted like, she won the main event at WrestleMania. It's like, it's meaningless. What the fuck are you crying for? It means nothing. Literally nothing. It means nothing. So she's got this crown on her head, and I think she's going to be extremely obnoxious. She's going to wear this crown and the cape, and she's going to talk about how she's the queen. We're probably going to have to call her Queen Zelina, and it's just so dated. This is such Vince shit, too. Where Xavier, I think, can make this funny. Xavier can have fun with the crown, the way King Booker had fun with the crown. But, Zelina is just going to do this. I can already picture the segments. It's going to be backstage at that little ring they have set up, that stage. And they'll talk to her with that little crab walking announcer or whatever. I just know exactly how they're going to go and how they're going to look, and we'll probably see that on Monday. So Zelina Vega is now your Queen of the Ring, but I still think she's going to lose way more matches than she's going to win on TV, and that will probably be her final victory for quite a while. And it's just not going to mean anything. All it's going to mean is that we get Zelina Vega now with a crown on her head. That's all it means. So, yeah, congrats, Zelina Vega. After that, we got the match I was looking forward to the least. I wanted nothing to do with Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley. I was terrified of this match. I'm terrified of the concept of Goldberg wrestling in Saudi Arabia. He's fucking horrible. He damn near killed himself and The Undertaker a few years back. And here he is again facing Lashley, a guy that you spent the better part of a year building up as a very, very credible, strong, invincible in a lot of ways WWE champion. And he was very, very protected for a long time there until he dropped the belt. And, now this shit with Goldberg, I just don't know what this achieves. it doesn't achieve anything. They had the match at SummerSlam. Lashley attacked Goldberg's leg, and then he did the thing to his son, and now Goldberg wants revenge. It's just a way to get a Goldberg match, I guess, and a Goldberg payday and give Goldberg to the Saudi Arabia crowd. But, man, don't do it at the expense of Lashley. And Lashley just got done putting Big E over, too. I wanted to see Lashley continue to roll, and maybe we can one day build to that Lashley and Brock match. That would be a lot of fun. And any sort of a loss here to Goldberg is going to suck. But you knew that was what was going to happen because they're not going to bring Goldberg. Hey, Goldberg, you mind if we bring you in, beat you, shit on your kid, then beat you again? No. So you knew that Lashley was going to lose here. At least the title wasn't on the line, which I'm really happy about. And, it worked out because when they decided to hotshot Big E's victory, it was able to get the title off of Lashley long enough for him to wrap up the Goldberg angle for them not to have to worry about putting the title on Goldberg again, which was nice. But despite all that, I had no interest in seeing Goldberg defeat Bobby Lashley at all. But you knew that's what we were going to get. So Goldberg and Lashley make their entrances. As much as I despise the thought of Goldberg wrestling and winning matches in WWE right now in present times, he just looks incredible. I don't know how somebody who is in their late 50s can physically look like that. It's incredible. I mean, he's definitely devoted. He is definitely a man's man, and he works his ass off to keep himself in shape like that. But, how you physically look only goes so far. You still have to physically do it. And he does struggle at times. But here, he brought it. He did about as good as I could have asked Goldberg to do. He was a little sloppy and whatnot, but still they were doing the leg stuff because Lashley was working over the leg for most of the match. Lashley got the early advantage, by the way, when the match started, pulling out a chain, I think bopped Goldberg right on the head right away, and then started really, really working over the leg. Later on in the match, Lashley wound up missing a spear into a table, and that's when I got a little bit nervous here. I'm like, well, this is probably going to be it. And I thought it was going to be it. And he hit after Lashley kind of recovers. Goldberg nails him with a spear and then sets him up for the jackhammer. Now, Bobby Lashley's a big boy. And we've seen how badly Goldberg has botched jackhammers before. But he got him up. It looked okay. Nobody died. Very happy about that. So as soon as he hit him with the jackhammer, I'm like, okay, I can live with that fine. Nobody died in the jackhammer. Pin him. Let's go home and get to the next match. But no, he doesn't allow the referee to count three, picks him up, tosses Lashley outside of the ring, and then hits him with a spear through the barricade. So Goldberg, oh, by the way, before he hit the spear off through the barricade, Goldberg in the ring, after he refused to win the match, starts taking his gloves off, but he can't get the glove. It takes him a while to pull his gloves off. So the gloves were getting the better of Goldberg here. He finally gets him off. Then he spears Lashley through the barricade, and then they start kind of fighting up the ramp a bit. Lashley's kind of retreating up the ramp, and he is met by the Hurt Business. Cedric and Shelton come out with kendo sticks, and Goldberg winds up, or they attack Goldberg. Goldberg takes both of them out, Cedric and Shelton. Now he's got a kendo stick, and Lashley's got a kendo stick, and we got a fucking lightsaber battle on the stage. So the kendo stick ends up breaking over the back of Bobby Lashley, and you could tell, I could even see this before it happened. I'm like, they're going to do a crash pad spot, because why else would you even go up there? And if you glanced over, you could see this dark area. I'm like, there it is. And so about, I'd say 3 minutes before they even did the spot, I knew the spot was coming, just waiting for it. So Lashley gets set up on the side of the ramp, because the ramp is pretty elevated too. And Goldberg hits a pretty good-looking spear right off of Lashley off the ramp. They fell several feet through the crash pad. Obviously, it was very, very padded. I'm sure it was a Tempur-Pedic mattress for Bill. That way it would conform to his body after the spear. And they landed nice and soft, and I didn't even realize that I knew it was no holds barred. I didn't think it was false count anywhere, though. I guess it was. And right there, as they're both laying there, Goldberg covers Lashley. Right there in the wreckage, referee counts 3, Goldberg wins. Honestly, it could have been worse. I consider myself very lucky. I've been complaining like a madman about this match ever since Goldberg's been around. As soon as they started this shit and Lashley survived SummerSlam, as soon as he put his hands on Goldberg's kid, I'm like, oh, fuck me. So I knew this was coming. But Number one, it wasn't for the title, which thank God. And number two, Goldberg didn't embarrass himself. So I have to consider myself pretty lucky here. I'm not a fan of them beating Lashley. I think it accomplishes nothing to give Goldberg a victory like this when he's nearly fucking 60 against a guy that you just spent a lot of time, energy, and money on building. I don't care if it's Goldberg. I don't care if he's a legend. It doesn't matter. It should have gone the other way. Lashley should have murdered this guy. So that's what still upsets me about this, is that you're doing this at the expense of a star that you've done pretty well making. Like Lashley has really turned the corner in the last year, all the way up until winning the world title earlier on in the year and the WrestleMania stuff. And he had him and Drew both, had pretty good, dominant runs. And Lashley was building momentum and becoming somebody that you wanted to see have a dream match with Brock Lesnar, and now you've put him down to Bill Goldberg. So now who fucking cares? So that annoys me. But, at least in the end, as much as I just despise the thought of Goldberg wrestling matches in 2021, he did okay. So I have to at least admit that. So good job there by both guys. It was a match that I didn't wish happened, but a match that, both guys, I suppose, should be proud of, because that probably wasn't easy for Lashley to work with that dude. Let me knock out a couple more super chats there. Jimmy Anderson, thanks again, man. So glad you are watching this at a regular time. Thank you for that. If you thought King Corbin was annoying, Zelina is going to be just as annoying. Yeah, she is. In a different way. She's not going to be annoying as in go away heat annoying like Corbin kind of has. She's going to be annoying is that she's just going to be so wrapped up in this shit that means nothing. It's going to be that type of annoying where Corbin, you just want to choke him. I ain't trying to choke Zelina. It ain't her fault. But she's going to be losing still. Thanks for another one, Jimmy. Appreciate that. Do you think the victory was in Vegas contract and that's why she signed instead of going to AEW? Do you think the victory in Vegas contract and that's why she signed instead of going to AEW? Oh, Zelina. I don't know. I don't know why she went back to WWE. I honestly don't know, especially with the way it ended, and she seemed pretty pissed. And, her husband is now working over in AEW. Maybe AEW's didn't have a place for her there or whatnot. I don't know. I don't know what the story there is, but we'll see. Me neither, Angie. Goldberg can stay gone. I think Zelina will do. Deshaun, you're right. Like, Zelina will look the part. She's beautiful. She's going to look great with the crown, and she's going to look like all that. But her promos are going to be so stupid. And she's going to be, I'm the queen and everything, when she got like a losing record. She's like the bottom of the totem pole on the roster. And she's going to be talking like she's, fucking Charlotte. So I think it's going to be a little bit annoying. And I think the only thing WWE is going to do to her is just have her lose a bunch. But I don't think her segments will be too stupid. Her segments are just going to be very boring, very bland, very, look at me, I'm the queen, blah, 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 and that's it. We're just going to have to sit through a minute and a half of that every week. So it is what it is. What can you do? That brings us, speaking of tournaments, to the men's final of the King of the Ring. This tournament went much better, unlike the women's tournament, where right from the opening round, it was off to a complete disaster. The men's tournament, right from the opening round, was off to a great start. They had some great opening matches there in the opening round, great semifinal matches. WWE gave all these matches time. They were good. And the tournament, I think, was awesome. Gave you some decent matches here. And, with Balor and Woods, many people were predicting Xavier Woods. We predicted Xavier Woods. However, I did say, I feel like that Balor's got the better resume. Balor's the former world champion over here. I think Balor is the stronger competitor. But Xavier has been politicking for this for quite a while, a couple of years, I think. And I think a lot of fans just kind of wanted that moment for him. He's the only member of the New Day to not be world champion. You feel like you got to give him something. And they did. He beat Finn Balor completely clean, a little bit shorter of a match than I thought they were going to get, and maybe even a little bit less intense, a few less near falls and shit like that. It was almost it was almost like a simpler match, and it just didn't have a whole lot to it. In the end, Balor put him over. Xavier hit the springboard elbow thing, which just looks great every time he does that, and pins Balor right there, 1, 2, 3, and wins the King of the Ring. So he didn't even beat, a long line of jabronis. He beat quality opponents on his road to the crown. I was very, very happy for him. Like I mentioned earlier, I was so happy with what AEW did with Serena Deeb and Hikaru Shida that week, kind of spoiling the victory party for Shida, that I wouldn't have minded seeing the same thing happen here. I do think that sometimes you should do a more reality-based finish. I do think that sometimes you don't make the game-winning shot. You brick that shit. And if they do that every now and then, it at least gives you the idea that not everything is so predictable. But if there's one time where I can be perfectly fine with a predictable outcome, this is it. Xavier's going to be a lot of fun with the crown. And hey, if he can politic for things and make them happen, I think he should start coveting the old classic Intercontinental title belt with the black strap. Fuck the white strap, the black strap. If he can start tweeting about that he wants to win the Intercontinental title and change it back to that, it just might happen. So Xavier, if you're listening, come on, let's do it. You seem to have the Midas touch here, so make it happen for us. I'd appreciate it. After that, we got Drew McIntyre challenging Big E for the WWE title. This match gave me exactly what I was looking for. Didn't need anything too crazy out of it. I just needed big, meaty men slapping meat, or whatever it is that Big E likes to say. That's all I needed. I needed a good, solid, competitive match here. These two guys have been trying to coexist for the last 3 fucking weeks on Monday Night Raw. So now finally it's time for the match. Little face-to-face thing in the middle, little show of respect. They have their match. It's good. I thought the match was really good. I didn't think it needed to be that much. I thought you could have gone 8 minutes here and had a big ending for a win. But, they really worked hard, and Drew, to his credit, worked hard to make Big E look good. He did his job out here, and he did the job out there and laid down, boom, big ending for the win, but not before he hit Big E with a Claymore right in the middle. I thought that was it. I actually thought, I'm like, holy shit, are they going to put the belt back on Big E? Big E and Brock both had me fooled in both title matches that I thought the outcome was relatively predictable. In both of those matches, I thought I was going to get swerved and the other guy was going to win. But Big E kicked out in the nick of time, recovered, ended up hitting the big ending on McIntyre for the win right in the middle. And a little nod, show of respect after the match to McIntyre on the ramp, pointing back in the ring to Big E. I liked it. And now Drew is heading off to SmackDown to likely be an opponent for Roman Reigns. I think he's going to be somebody that Roman's going to face. I wouldn't be surprised if we get that match on that January 1st pay-per-view. He'll probably wrestle Roman a few times before Roman gets to WrestleMania. But if Roman is surviving Brock here, I don't know how his title is in any sort of real jeopardy until WrestleMania. Because think about it, Survivor Series, the title's not going to be on the line at all. He'll probably have a TV title match somewhere on SmackDown between now and the end of the year. He'll probably work the New Year's Day show, which maybe you could do a change there. Holy shit, what a way to kick off the year. But after that, then it's Rumble time, then you're heading to Mania. So whoever your champions are there, you're probably going to, Roman's held the belt so long, WrestleMania is the place to drop it, So that's probably, for those who think it's going to go to WrestleMania, you are probably right. I think it probably will. So anyway, good match there. Couldn't have asked for anything more out of Big E and Drew. Happy for Big E. 2 big quality wins now in his title run. I was worried that hot-shotting Big E's victory was going to make him a champion, but still not really change his status or his level on the card. Like when CM Punk won the title back in 2009, when he was still a babyface. I'm like, yeah, he was champion, but there was another champion in the company that was a much bigger deal. He was more of an undercard world champion. I didn't want to see that happen to Big E. So at least on Raw, they put him over Bobby Lashley in that cage match. Now a clean victory over the last 2 WWE champions. He has now beat 1, 2, 3 right in the middle of the ring. That's great. Not much more you can do for the guy. And now he's got to go into Survivor Series. Well, he will definitely take a loss to Roman Reigns. But hopefully in that, it can be an Usos involvement, New Day involvement. I think Big E versus Roman can be all kinds of fun when you think about who these guys' friends are and shit. So that's probably what we're going to get. And right now, Big E's still your champ. Keep him as strong as possible until you get to Survivor Series, because I don't want that loss to Roman to slow his momentum down too much. After that, we got the triple threat Becky Lynch defending the SmackDown Women's title against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. Shout out and congratulations to Bianca Belair, who topped PWI's Women's 150. She was number one. I didn't see the rest of the list. I just thought it was cool that she was number one, which makes sense. You won the title in the main event of WrestleMania. You should be number one. So that was nice for her. Of course, WWE doesn't even acknowledge that shit. AEW, if it was one of their girls, they would be talking about it, taking pictures with the plaque and throwing it all over TV. WWE don't give a fuck. But they should. That's a big deal for Bianca. She's so young and so new to the business to top that list already. Good for her, man. How about the press slam, the one-arm press slam to Sasha Banks? That was good stuff. I was so pleasantly surprised with how good this match was. I just can't stand that the women have to wear all that shit over there, but everything that the girls were wearing looked good. They all wore their t-shirts and they kind of had like a full bodysuit thing underneath. Bianca's looked really good with the all purple. Sasha had some sequin stuff going on, and she, of course, never wears, long pants. I think Becky sometimes does. But I thought all three of them, despite the wardrobe bullshit they have to do over there, actually looked okay, and the match was so good. Just wasn't expecting it to be this good. So, in the end, I was kind of biting my nails a bit because I'm like, what do you really do here other than Becky winning? Like I said earlier, I can't believe I'm actually rooting for the belt swap thing. I don't want to see Charlotte and Becky do that, but really that's honestly what's for the best at this point, because I really wanted to see Bianca and Becky pick up their feud on the Raw brand, and I swear to God, Bianca better beat Becky for that title, although Becky looks like she's heading for a showdown now with Charlotte at Survivor Series. Talk of a belt unification, I don't think so. I think they want two women's champions. So if they unify them, they're just going to have to ununify them. I still think they're going to want a champion on Raw, champion on SmackDown. Just seems like what they're going to do. So after that, the Bianca and Becky thing hopefully will carry on, and Bianca can beat her, for the title. When is that going to be? There's going to be no December pay-per-view. We just have that January 1st show. That's all we know about. Or it might come on TV. I don't know. But I think Bianca really needs to get that win back from SummerSlam on Becky at some point. And maybe that will be the beginning of the year. Last year, Bianca won the Royal Rumble. Maybe this year she wins the title at Royal Rumble. It's possible. So we will see what goes on there. In the end here, despite lots of near falls and a lot of funny spots, my favorite was when Sasha and Bianca had like Becky held in their arms and she's looking at him going, "Are we best friends?" And she's trying to like give them both hugs just so they won't slam her into the corner. Of course, they don't do that. They slam her down. A lot of good near falls and pin breakups and submission breakups here. In the end, though, Becky gets a quick kind of inside cradle on Sasha Banks, and she grabs a hold of the rope for more leverage, but the referee kind of doesn't see it, and plus it's triple threat rules. The referee could have stopped the count, but couldn't have really disqualified her or anything. So Becky did pull a fast one here. You figured it had to be something like that. It was going to be some distraction or some sort of roll up or some way of cheating. Becky is going to kind of like survive basically. And now she can go to Raw, continue her shit with Bianca, and Sasha doesn't really lose any momentum either. And she can continue to be the boss on SmackDown and probably win another title over there as well. So I think it accomplished everything they needed to here, kept the belt on Becky and delivered a way better match than I thought it would be. And that just was a really, really pleasant surprise. Like I said, I fucking hate the belt switching thing, but it's really the best thing you can do. If you put the belt on Sasha here so she could take the belt to SmackDown, well, now SmackDown's got two titles, and you have to do something to work that out. It's just too confusing. I cannot believe that the easiest solution is to swap the titles, because the way that jumbles up title histories and legacies and lineage and shit like that really annoys me whenever I try to, trace back the history of these title belts when they just change the names of them all the time. But it's what WWE does, and that's probably what we're going to see tomorrow. How about, did you guys catch the Charlotte Flair video package? Come on, WWE. Like they couldn't not leave her off the show. Like, even when she wasn't there, they still had to run like a video package showing how great she was. I was worried they were going to and somebody said she might have been in Saudi Arabia. So I was like, fuck, are they going to put her in this and make it a fatal four-way or something? But the fact that they ran some entire vignette or promo package just talking about how great Charlotte was ridiculous. I'm a Charlotte defender. I think fans that hate her are, for lack of a better term, dumb. But even I'll admit that was a little much and completely not needed. So don't know what that was about. Tomorrow night, since everybody is heading to SmackDown, it's going to be funny to watch WWE break their own rule yet again. Changes don't take effect until the night after Crown Jewel, and here Becky is going to be showing up on SmackDown probably to do that belt swapping deal with Charlotte. Bet you $100. We'll see. And it's so funny how throughout the show tonight, a couple of times they were saying like, tomorrow night on SmackDown, we kick off a brand new era. I'm like, what new era? The new era that was already here? Because as soon as you did the draft, everybody you drafted was on the show right away. And you started acting like none of the shit's going to happen until tomorrow, but it's already happened. So the new era is already here. There's nothing new to watch tomorrow. Nothing's different. It's going to be the same shit you saw last week. Season premiere my ass. WWE. And it was also cracking me up in the Big E and Drew McIntyre match how Corey Graves was all nervous because if Big E loses, then Drew's going to take the title to SmackDown and you're never going to see the title again. Do you watch the show that you're on? Do you watch the show that you are calling? You're acting like Raw will never see the title again if Drew wins it. Give me a break. He'll be on the show on Monday to fucking drop it or switch it or do something. They'll rectify it. They always do. These announcers should know better. They fucking work there. How do we know this stuff and they don't? And anyway, that left us with the main event. Universal title on the line. Roman Reigns defending against the Brockster. No flannel, but he was rocking that ponytail pretty awesome. I think he should just move the ponytail to the top of his head and go full Jericho at this point. Get a little flashy and sparkly little shirt. He'd look great. Y2 Brock, I'd be into it. And like I said earlier, at the top of the show here when we opened, what I liked so much more about this match is what I've been preaching for a long time. I've said ever since Roman became this head of the table last year, I said, oh man, does that change the story between him and Brock now? And I really, really want to see that match. And what was it met with? I got met with so many, we've already seen it. I'm like, oh my God, you guys don't get it. So you just don't understand. I'm like, it's a completely different match. The dynamics and what it means now with Paul Heyman in the middle. And Roman is a completely different person than who he was when he was being dominated by Brock Lesnar for most of the matches they had against each other. Even when Roman got a victory against Brock, it was still after receiving a shit ton of punishment, and he just got his ass kicked. Wherever they were wrestling, they wrestled a couple WrestleMania matches, SummerSlam main events. Every time they wrestled, it was much the same story. Roman just eating German after German after German and trying to survive this big, bad, evil beast. This time, it's a little bit different. Roman doesn't have that underdog, I'm overmatched type of feel to him. Now he's more assertive. He's the one taking it to Brock, getting in his face, popping him in the face with right hand punches and shit like that. And it gave us a completely different looking of a match than what we got between these two every other time they faced each other, which is what I said was going to happen, which is what made this whole situation so interesting, because not only is the match itself interesting, Paul Heyman being in the middle is interesting too. And they're still not really cluing us in or letting us know what exactly is going to happen here, but they're leaving a hell of a lot of shit open with all the speculation and stuff like that with Brock and Roman and Heyman on TV. And you thought maybe something would happen here. Maybe Heyman would turn on Roman or join Brock or whatever. He didn't do that at all. He stood like a statue on the outside of the ring and just did very little reacting. So you couldn't even tell what he was doing. He was like Miss Elizabeth at WrestleMania 5 when the Mega Powers exploded. So you got that vibe right off the bat from these two, with the more assertive Roman not getting his ass kicked right away, but that did wind up happening. Brock did start taking control of Roman, started tossing him around a lot. Roman was eating a lot of Germans. It started becoming a flashback of 2016. Roman, though, Roman, to his credit, he fights back on Brock. He's got Brock down, and he does the same thing to Brock later on that Brock was doing to him, methodically working him over. You've never seen Brock methodically worked over like that before. Roman was, doing a good job of, kind of working heel. These two guys had to change everything that they've ever done with each other, and I thought it worked really well. So he hits Lesnar with a couple of Superman punches. One takes him to a knee, the other one takes him completely down, and now he's going for the final blow. He's got Lesnar set up, but you could see it coming, a mile away, especially with Lesnar being in the corner. Roman is basically going to set him up for the spear, but Lesnar is all the way on the other side of the ring. So as Roman is charging him, Lesnar leapfrogs. I even called it. I'm like, that's going to be a leapfrog. And he leapfrogs Roman Reigns. Roman spears himself into the buckle, and that's when Roman proceeds to eat 4 German suplexes. And Brock started showing signs of that crazy Brock when he dominated John Cena at Royal Rumble or at SummerSlam 2014. The way he was laughing at Roman, mocking Roman, doing his boo thing or whatever. It was great. It was fucking awesome. And Brock looked like he had Roman's number. Roman was getting his ass kicked. Heyman's freaking out. He hits him with 4 Germans, mocks him, picks him up, and nails him with an F5 right in the middle of the ring. And I'm like, holy shit, they're going to do it. 1, 2, 2 and 9/10. Roman kicks out. Unbelievable. Just like Drew caught Big E with the Claymore earlier and almost had me convinced that he was going to win the title, even though it would have blown my mind if he did. I'm like, holy shit, this is it. And he came really close. I thought that was it. Roman kicks out at the last minute of the F5. Brock picks him up to go for another F5. And when he goes for it, Roman counters into the guillotine choke. And he's got that locked in on Brock. Brock is fading, but he is able to survive that as well, recovers, picks up Roman for another F5 attempt. But when he goes for it, Roman's legs smash into referee Charles Robinson. He takes a bump. He goes down. And now there's no referee. Roman is able to, Roman's down from the F5, and of course, Brock has him pinned. 1, 2, 3, no referee. Brock gets up, Roman recovers, and winds up hitting Brock Lesnar with a spear, and now has Brock pinned, but no referee. So both guys kind of got a fake or an empty pin over a refless pin, I should say, over the other. And then, this was the funniest part, they're both kind of laying there down in the middle of the ring, and Heyman grabs the title, and he slides it like perfectly in between the two of them, not closer to one than the other. And he slides it in, and instead of looking at one particular guy, he looks straight ahead and goes, you know what to do. So he's not giving in like what the fuck he's doing here. So he slides it right in the ring, and then Brock and Roman both grab the belt at the same time, and they start having a tug of war with the belt, and you're immediately transported back to 2015 before WrestleMania 31 when Roman Reigns won the Royal Rumble, and they did that stupid segment on Raw that everybody shit on. It was basically like the main event segment. It was either contract signing or maybe just a face-to-face. And they were in the ring, and the whole show goes off the air with the two guys tugging on the belt. I'm like, oh, really? And it got just shit on. So it was a nice little callback, and this was a much more intense tug of war. But as the tug of war is happening, that's when the Usos hit the ring because there's no referee. Boom, I didn't catch which one it was. Super kick to Brock Lesnar. Might have been both of them. Brock eats a super kick. Belt shot from Roman right to the face. Brock is down right in the middle. Roman covers him right as the brand new official runs down to the ring. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. Roman defeats Brock with a lot of help. He cheated. So what? He's a heel. That's the kind of outcome I wanted. I think it would be great for Roman to be able to put down Brock clean. But Brock's back as a babyface now, and he's not going to be doing that. So to have all this extracurricular stuff for the Usos to come out and screw him, he now has the claim that he had Roman beat. And this has been Roman's MO. Don't forget, like all throughout his run, the Usos, especially Jay, has been a really big part of why he is winning these matches to begin with. He's won lots of matches with their help. So it's kind of par for the course here. So you're going to have to see now if Brock comes out on SmackDown tomorrow and he demands the Usos' blood and he just fucking murders them both on his, road to challenging Roman to another match or something. I mean, you guys said in the chat here that WWE has announced Brock for SmackDown tomorrow night. Makes me wonder what they're going to do. Roman's probably going to go into Survivor Series to face Big E. I don't think you have time to set up a return match between these two. I feel like you could see some sort of a segment where maybe Brock gets beat down and written off TV for a couple of months until the beginning of the year when he reemerges, or maybe Brock's just back doing shit now, but this guy doesn't wrestle TV matches. I don't know what the hell he's going to do at Survivor Series if he's not a champion. So what point does Brock really have to be on TV right now? So I think if he does turn up tomorrow, they might do something to get him off the show. Feels like that's possible, but he's also a free agent. He could turn up on Raw, and they could do that. He could turn up on Raw and then just beat Big E. Say, Roman, I want another shot against you. And Roman's like, I don't have to face you, man. I don't have to do anything. Paul Heyman assured me that it was in the contract that was a one-time only chance. And then Brock's like, fuck, I guess I'm screwed. Luckily for me, I'm a free agent. I'm going to go over to Raw, beat Big E for the title in 5 seconds like I beat his brother. And then I get to go to Survivor Series to face you one-on-one and get my revenge against you. And it doesn't matter if I beat you for the title because now I'm already a champion. Win-win kind of thing. I suppose they could do that, but let's not do that. Let's keep the belt on Big E and let him do his thing. He can face Roman. He can lose to Roman. The Usos will be involved. It'll be much like we saw the match with Brock tonight, Roman and Big E at Survivor Series. All sorts of extracurricular stuff, ref bumps, false finishes, interference, foreign objects. But when the dust settles, Roman will probably get some very, very assisted victory over Big E. And honestly, it's not so bad. Let's keep Roman's run going, because you wouldn't want to see Roman beat at Survivor Series. Roman losing that title, just losing in general, should be a pretty big deal when it happens. So I wouldn't want to do it in kind of a match that at the end of the day doesn't mean a whole lot when there's no title on the line. So I'd rather see Roman not be pinned until he drops that title. That's what I would suggest. But, then again, they didn't do that with Becky. She ate a pin, for the first time in a couple of years. Instead of waiting for her to drop the title when she eats that pin. But so I suppose you could do it. But I don't know. I like kind of not knowing where they're going to go. I like seeing 4 or 5 different possible directions they could go. That's always when it's the most fun. So we'll see starting tomorrow what WWE does with Roman, with Brock, with Edge, with Seth, with Big E, all that stuff. If they start immediately promoting and building Survivor Series starting tomorrow, or if there's a little grace period before that gets going. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, there you go. Let me go over here and knock out any super chats we have left. One from Luigi DeRaw Gaming. Thanks, dude, for the $5. Bianca has had great matches with each of the horsewomen. Is one of the reasons I don't have a problem with Vince wanting more athletic non-wrestlers. Yeah, the funny thing is you can find non-wrestlers who are very athletic that become great wrestlers. There are plenty of them. I just don't like that being your kind of go-to your go-to policy for locating and scouting and signing talent. I think you should look at everybody. When you can find a physically gifted athlete and you can say, holy shit, he could be great, bring him in, see what he can do. But you also need to have professional wrestlers there too. And I just think WWE is ass backwards in a lot of that thinking. Finn Balor to heel. Is Finn Balor a heel or he's going to be heel? I don't know what you mean by that. Oh, God. Yeah, Stephen Harris, there has been a lot of talk about The Rock at WrestleMania, although WrestleMania, or you're talking about 37. If The Rock available at WrestleMania 37 to beat Roman, so where do you go from here? I think you mean next year at 38. I think the most logical match would be here in LA at 39, but the problem is that's still like a year and a half away, and who knows where the Roman character will be by that point. So I don't know. And with Survivor Series being at Barclays, there's been talk about The Rock doing a appearance there. Could be a good place to set up that match. If it's Roman and Big E, Roman beats him, and then Rock comes out, stare down. Rock kind of looks at the title, looks at Roman. I would love to see Rock come in and just do that torch passing thing with The Rock, because much like the Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman stuff, there's a whole bunch of story to be told with Roman and Rock, especially with Roman and this head of the table, tribal chief, head of the family shit. Everybody just must gargle my fucking balls and worship the ground I walk on. I'm not sure if you can say that to a billionaire movie star. You know what I mean? The Rock is the most recognizable name in all of the world, really. So that tribal chief head of the table shit might not fly with who the real head of the table is in that family, and that will be really interesting when that happens. The promos can be fun. The Rock is going to talk about that Royal Rumble in Philly when he came out and helped Roman and try to help celebrate his victory, and he got booed, and The Rock had that look on his face like, what the fuck? There's going to be some fun shit being said in those promos. So... And for The Rock to, in the end, what I would assume here is do the favors and pass the torch to his cousin here would be, I think, a great moment. It could be super fun if done right. So that's got to come together. If that happens this year at WrestleMania, if it happens next year at 39 in LA, or if it doesn't happen at all, I don't know. But would love to see Rock get back before he's 70. Remember that promo he did when he said he was going to be out there in the People's Walker? We're getting close to that. So he needs to get in the ring soon before. I thought 10 years ago when he came back, it might be a little late for him. So, now it's 10 years past that. Rock's in his 50s, He's in a little bit better shape than some other wrestlers who are in their 50s, not naming any names, but still, they can only get you so far, as we've seen with Goldberg. So we'll see. We will see. Who do you think is going to finally beat Roman? I'm kind of with Roderick on that one. I'm going Hornswoggle, or if Marco Stunt jumps ship and goes to WWE, I think he's a solid choice to dethrone Roman Reigns. I mean, how can he not be? Family, I'm talking family torch passing. I mean, there's a big... Roman is doing the whole head of the table thing, and Rock has had all of this success, coming in and, beating, one of the greatest ever. It's maybe that's not the right phrasing, torch passing, but it kind of is. It can be used in multiple ways. It's not just an active wrestler or a retiring wrestler passing it off to a younger guy. It doesn't always have to be that. It can mean other things too. And I think like a figurative, you're the head Samoan now kind of torch passing is what I was kind of referring to. Well, yeah, but that's the way the matches are structured. I mean, you're not going to get too many Roman and Brock matches that aren't going to have Superman punches, suplexes, F5s, and spears. That's going to be 90% of the matches. That's how they work. If it's Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle in there, you're getting a different kind of match. But when you got to remember, like, who's wrestling in the ring, and I think a lot of fans, think that way sometimes. They think that every match has to be Brett and Shawn. Wrestlers are different. They're different sizes, work different styles. They do a lot of different things, and sometimes you don't always have to have, different flippy, crazy moves. You can tell stories in other ways, and, I'm a big Brock fan. I don't care how many Germans he throws. To me, that's not that boring. There was a time in Brock's career, I will say this, where I thought it was getting a little much with the suplex and stuff, definitely. But I still very rarely find his matches boring. I still look at Brock as an attraction, as a big money draw. And the style he works is how he works. That's just what he does. It's what he's always done. And he's not 25-year-old Brock anymore doing shooting stars and shit like that. So you get more mileage out of your career when you work that way, and not doing what they do to their bodies. But I still think they work a very physical style, and all of that. It's just how they do it. Yeah, I would rather, if we were going to get Roman and Brock again, though, I think I'd vote Rumble on that one. I don't want to push that one to WrestleMania because we just got this Crown Jewel match. I want WrestleMania to have this, just this vibe. And I know a lot of WrestleMania main events we have technically seen before, but I still like the feel of them. And if they did Brock and Roman again, I don't know. I wouldn't be into that, but we'll see. You got to start thinking. We're getting close to the time to start thinking about Royal Rumble winners for the men and women, whose time it's going to be next year. I have a feeling this year it's going to be Bianca Belair going into WrestleMania as champion. And I think she's going to drop the belt to somebody. So I think the winner of the Rumble defeats Bianca Belair for the title. That's what I feel like on the women's side. And then on the men's side, I don't know. The winner could beat Roman, or the winner could beat the Raw guy. I'm not sure. We'll start talking about that as the days and weeks go on here. But that pretty much wraps it up for the review. Probably going to be bouncing out of here in a second. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, Angie, I agree. Brock was selling great for Roman. And Brock, we've always heard that about Brock. Brock always does business. I always laugh at people make comments that Brock's not going to want a job. I'm like, Brock will do whatever. Just pay him. He doesn't give a fuck. Brock does business. He goes out of his way to make people look good. And he remembers. He's somebody that's a professional. He remembers how much Roman sold for him. That's what you do in business. It's give and take, and when it's your time to make somebody, you do it. And when it's your time to be made, you do that too. And, this is a situation where now Brock has got to get in the ring and make Roman look like a little bit more of a badass, where it was Roman doing all the work before. So that's just kind of the way it goes. And Brock's business, I've never been one to think that Brock is some guy that's too terribly concerned about, not like Hogan, about his image and losing and stuff. He's probably just into just making a ton of money and living a quiet life. I don't think at the end of the day he cares too much. I'm sure there are some times when he might pull his Brock card and say, I don't want to do that. I don't want to lose this match. There might be times like that. No big deal. But overall, I think Brock is always willing to do business. Always. Oh, Regina, tall girl, easily in your house over Crown Jewel. I mean, this show was very good. I just don't really like the Crown Jewel shows at all and wish they didn't exist at all. But if they do have to exist, at least I want them to be good, and this one was. So that's a good thing. Ooh, Gilbert, I don't know, man. Edge versus Brock in a future program. Might be interesting to see those two guys again after all these years. But, man, Edge doesn't appear to be fragile the way he wrestles, but, his opponents always point out, his fragile neck and shit. And I don't know, man. The only way I can see Edge and Brock in a program is if one of them are champion. That's probably it. Roderick, thanks for the $5, dude. Buy a burger or beer for someone at the bar. I enjoy the content. I appreciate it, man. Will do next time I'm back in my bar. Oh, Fatal 4-Way at Survivor Series? I don't think so. I think they're doing the champions thing, but they could put both champions in there with two different opponents and just say, fight it out. No, he said burger or beer, and it's definitely enough for a beer. Decent beer. And I'm SD, not SF, Conor McGregor. I'm San Diego, not San Francisco. All right. But anyway, I think I'm going to get out of here now. It's such a weird time. It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. For me, 7:30 on the East Coast. What a weird time to watch a pay-per-view, but it was still fun. Enjoyed the show. Enjoyed doing the review. Thank you so much for being here. Do me a favor and smash that thumbs up button on your way out the door. Make sure you subscribe, and we will be back up here. Let me see, 72 hours from this moment, 73 hours from now, Sunday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. We're going to come up here and do a Winged Eagle. We'll talk SmackDown, we'll talk Rampage, and we'll talk Saturday night's Dynamite, any other wrestling news that is going on. We'll discuss that and the fallout from Crown Jewel, whatever we see on SmackDown, whatever we might see on Monday. All of that will be discussed on Sunday evening or afternoon. And looking forward to seeing you guys there. So you guys take care. Have a good rest of your Thursday night. And I'll catch you Sunday for the podcast. Y'all be good. Peace.